Hi guys, in this video let's talk about AWS CloudFormation, specifically how to write your first template. So I will, in the description I will provide a blog article written by me explaining what's AWS CloudFormation and how you can write your AWS CloudFormation templates in a more flexible and reusable manner. So in this video I'll show you guys how to write your first AWS CloudFormation template. Industrial CloudFormation is an infrastructure code service managed by AWS itself. So when you are creating your infrastructure, what you do is you use either AWS CLI or AWS console and you create your resources, right? If you use AWS console, you go to your web interface, your favorite web browser, log into AWS console, and by clicking and typing, you are creating infrastructure. If you are using AWS console, AWS CLI, you are using AWS CLI command line tool and use its commands and type it and create your infrastructure. The thing is, it's a little bit hard in the long run. If you have to manage it, it will be hard in the long run. If you are going to delete it, you have to delete one by one. If you are going to as a long run, you have to create architecture diagrams. Then you have to identify, okay, I created this resources for this particular project, and does involve some other things. So a little bit hard to manage if you are going to create them, and let's say you have to create the same resource multiple times. If you are going to create by hand by CLI commands, if you are using CLI commands, yeah, you can use PowerShell scripting or bash scripting and script it. But if you're going to create it by AWS console, you have to do the same tip process again and again, right? So to avoid those such complications, there's a free tool that we can use. Actually, it's free up to 1,000 handlers. Since normally in normal case we don't have to use more than 1,000 handlers. We are using it more less. But if it's an enterprise level customer, then you will be using more than 1,000 handlers. It's actually up to your use case. So it's an infrastructure code. Infrastructure as code. I hope you guys can have infrastructure as code. It's like defining your entire infrastructure in a code using your favorite language. Okay, so there are a lot of open source tools that most of you guys are using maybe already. Terraform, Plomi, and AWS CloudFormation is a native tool for the AWS itself, like ARM templates for the Azure. So AWS CloudFormation templates are written in YAML or JSON. You can use either of those languages to define your infrastructure in a declarative manner in a CloudFormation template. Once you define your template, you have to deploy your template in CloudFormation. So deploying a template in a deployment, okay, how we are going to say it more informatively, let's say. There's something called AWS CloudFormation stack. So AWS CloudFormation stack is a CloudFormation template written in either JSON or YAML that we are going to deploy. So let's go to our AWS CloudFormation console and see it there. So this is my AWS CloudFormation template. It's the first time I'm here, so I'm getting nice get started screen like this and stuff. So these are stacks. So there are multiple things in CloudFormation. Let's talk about stacks only in this particular video. So stack is a CloudFormation template that we are going to deploy, which is restricted to this particular account which you are going to deploy. Stack sets are CloudFormation template that we can deploy in multiple accounts from a single account. So we are not going to discuss about stack sets today. We are going to talk about stacks. So before you create a stack, means you are going to deploy a stack. In the blog article which I'm going to provide in the description, it will show you guys how to just start a CloudFormation template. You can use a terms template, select a template from here. So these are the quick start templates provided by AWS for you. just to select it and click on next and go on. So view in designer is an option that you can view what are the resources actually deploy and what's the template. So if I go to designer, you can see what are the resources that's going to deploy, and this is the template. It's actually deploying these resources. Okay, so those are quick start template, or you can click on create and create a template in the designer. Design is actually the what we went just a bit earlier. So you can click on the resources from here, drag and drop from here, then make connections to this, and then when you're creating connection stuff, it will automatically generate the template. You can click on what type of template you need, JSON or YAML. So depending on the type you are going to select, language, depending on language you are going to select, the template creation will be separated. There will be dependent policies, and this will be the template. These are the components, and you can see the entire template in here. So when you are going to put the resources in here, see if I put the EC2 resource in here, say I put the instance, drag it, drop here. So just put the EC2 instance, drag and drop, it created the EC2 instance resource in my template. So you can you can use this interface and create your infrastructure in here graphically, and the template will be automatically generated. See, it looks easy, but actually when you're doing it, it will be hard, because you actually should know how the connection should be happen, from which to which connection should be created. All the stuff you need to particularly know how to create it successfully. So see, I just created a VPC, and now I'm going to create a subnet inside the VPC. Let's see. See, I just created a VPC, then inside the VPC I create the subnet. Just reference it by this. So then I can create internet gateway and stuff. I can drag and drop. Then I need to create deep. So this will be depends on this one. So it gives a depends on in here. So likewise, you can graphically create this one and generate the template in here. So I'm not going to do this method. I'm going to do it more in traditional method, and I think it's a little bit faster than this method, because you have to search for the resources here, drag it and drop it, then make the correct connections. If you create the connections in the wrong way, the template will be generated in the wrong way. But if you are really good at this one, by all means use this one, because in a way this is easy, because you can get the architecture diagram created in here and template created here. One time you are done. You can take a screenshot of the architecture diagram, preserve it for as your architecture, then you can get the generated template from here. You can do it, yeah, please try it, but a little bit hard. So I'm going to do it in a more traditional way, which is I'm going to generate a template by myself. So let's generate our first template. So in my case, I'm going to use YAML, because I'm more familiar with YAML more than JSON, because there's a saying also, JSON is for machines. Like JSON can be really understood by machine, but still be hard for humans to understand. But there are some people who can actually understand JSON. So I'm not saying the JSON is, you should not use JSON. I'm also using JSON sometimes, but I'm more familiar with YAML, and more going more toward YAML because it's really easy to understand and see it clearly and stuff. So let's first go. So when you're going to create your first template, there are a few resources that I need to show you guys. So first thing is this one. So you from here you can see the AWS CloudFormation template anatomy. Okay, so in the template anatomy, it shows what are the sections of the CloudFormation template. You can see what are the section and what each section should carry. So this is the JSON format and this is the YAML format. So these are the main sections of a CloudFormation template. template version, description of the template, why you are going, what for which purpose you are going to use, then metadata, parameters, roles, mappings, conditions, transform, resources, output. This is the order of the template, YAML template. Okay, this is the order, these are the sections. You don't have to have each and every section in your template, but you have to preserve this order. Okay, so preserving this order is actually the best method. Okay, you do not have to have each and every section in your template. When I'm going to create, you'll see that I'm only using this section, and this section only in my template. Other sections I'm just going to disregard. Okay, so AWS CloudFormation execute AWS API calls in the backend, and it uses parallel processing. So sometimes when all the resources, when you are deploying the template, the AWS Cloud side tries to provision them at once. So let's say if a particular resource is depending on another resource, like say before creating subnet, you need to have your VPC created, right? So VPC subnet is dependent on VPC. So those kind of dependencies you will have to mention, because as I said, when the CloudFormation execute the template, it tries parallel processing, like it tries to deploy all the resources at the same time. So in case of there are dependencies, you have to mention them, so the template will provision according to that dependency conditions you are setting. Otherwise it will not go like deploy this resource first, then deploy second resource. Likewise, there's nothing order like this unless you specify using depends on functions. Okay, so from this particular page you guys can see the template anatomy. I will put the link in the description, and in the blog article which I mentioned, which I put the link in the template description also. In there also you'll be able to find this information. And the second one I need you guys to check is this getting started page. So this is the CloudFormation getting started page. So in here it shows you guys how to pick a template and how to provision that on all those information. So this is the getting started, how to create the stack, monitor the progress of the stack, then how to delete the stack. One thing I have to mention is that when you deploy your infrastructure using AWS CloudFormation, it's really easy to delete your infrastructure, because you just have to delete the template, deploy the stack, and your resources will be deleted. Okay, so without much talking about parts configuration and stuff in here, let's go ahead and write our template. You can refer the blog article to get understanding about AWS CloudFormation and their resources and stuff in a more in-depth way. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to follow the template YAML template anatomy, and first what I need to, and I'm going to create my template in here. So I'm actually working in AWS Cloud9 environment for you, since it's easy for me to show you guys the creation of the template. So I'm going to first of all copy it here, starting section, and the version. So you guys can find the version, the documentation. So from current format version is this particular one. So you guys can just click on copy here, just paste it here. Okay, then the second section I'm going to use is description, and I'm going to provide the description CloudFormation VPC. I'm going to create a VPC stack, VPC subnet, and my internet gateway, and a simple bastion host in order to connect using CloudFormation. So if I go to my environment at this moment, I do not have any resource of VPC or any other stuff. So I'm going to first create a VPC. So then the section I'm going to use is resources. Parameters are things that you can use to get the inputs from for the CloudFormation in the runtime when the execution is start by using user inputs, typing, or using list of stuff. I'm not going to give parameters in here. I'm going to use resources and define the resources in my template. Okay, so this is the very basic. This is a very basic template. Just want to show you guys how to just getting started in writing a CloudFormation template. So first thing I need to use is create a VPC in my AWS account. So you guys can find how to define resources in the CloudFormation by AWS documentations, resources and property reference section. So in here you guys can find all the resource template code blocks in here. So since I need to define VPC, it's under EC2 section. So I'm going to go to mention EC2, then I'm going to search for VPC. Okay. So when I got VPC, so this is the JSON code block and this is the YAML cloud block. I'm going to copy my YAML cloud block. Go to my template. Before each and every resource we are going to create, we have to give a logical name for our resource, and this logical name is used to reference a particular resource in another resource. Okay, and each and every section in YAML is indented by a space. So I'm going to indent it by a space and provide my logical name, my VPC. It's not have to be simple, you can have capital also, it's matter. Let me give my VPC, then colon, then space, then I'm going to drop in, and then I'm going to a bit much, sorry. Looks like if I'm going to use spaces, I will have to configure slot for tabs. I'm going to use like 2. Okay, sorry. Let me go ahead and check 2. Okay. Let me see whether it's okay. It's not. Yeah, let me delete this one. Restart my PC. Sorry, I forgot to put colon, then put it my block. Yeah. So my VPC, then I'm going to put my VPC section here. So since my tab is going to check for spaces as a tab, that's why it's probably a problem. Accept. Let's see. Still it's not getting. I'll have to check my Cloud9 environment settings later on, so I'm not going to waste my time on here like this right now. So these are the sections that I can configure when I'm creating my VPC using CloudFormation template, but not each and every parameter is required. So if I go to my documentation, and so in here it says what each stack need to define. So side, in the side block I need to give what's my side. Then if you have created a VPC using the console, you might already know. So this is a DNS hostname resolution enabling. So as you can see, this is required. So if you are going to create a VPC, yeah, definitely you have to give the side block, right? So this is a required component, that's why it's required. But when you're creating the VPC, you don't have to give whether you need DNS resolution enabled, whether you need DNS support enabled, no, right? So that's why this is said as required no. And it says what's the type of the input they are expecting from here. And tenancy is dedicated ones, host you. So what you can provide when you are creating a VPC using the console or CLI, you can write the same things in the CloudFormation. So at this moment, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use, since all these options, I'm just going to use the things I need. So I need to use cider, absolutely. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to give the cider in here first. I'm going to give the cider as 172.18.0.0/16. And I'm going to give DNS hostname enable, yeah, true. Then DNS support enabled, true. I'm not going to use these three options since I don't require. Then I'm going to give a tag. So giving the tag, let's see, tags. And the tag section, this type is tag. So when I click on tag, I can see how tags need to be provided. Tag needs to be provided in this particular manner. So I'm going to copy this one. Going to go back, delete this, paste it. Again, indentation is key in YAML. So I'm going to keep it like this, key owner, then since we are strings, I'm going to provide it, sorry, a little bit confusing when I'm working with sometimes Cloud9, because most of the time I'm working with Visual Code. Since in here I need to give you guys more AWS feeling, I'm going to work with Cloud9. So I just created my VPC. Now I'm going to create a subnet. So what I need to do, I need to go back again. I'm going to define another resource, which is my subnet. Give my logical name, and next, indent, and go back in here, delete this one, and I'm going to go here, and from here I'm going to search for subnet here. Again, copy the YAML syntax, paste it here. So make sure you have the indentation properly. Okay. Then assign IPv6 address on creation. I do not need one. This one again, since I'm more familiar with this, I'm just deleting stuff and doing that one. But when you are deleting it, first of all check whether it's required one. No, it's not required, so I'm not going to give it. And then we'll do this one also, again not required, but I'm going to give it like I want to create my VPs subnet in ap-southeast-1a, then the side block. Going to create 172.18.1.0/24, and I don't need IPv6 side the box, so I'm going to delete it. Map public IP on launch. Yes, I need the public IP address launched. Then yeah, not have to provide it like this, I can provide it like this. Then outpost ARN, I do not have any outpost ARN, just delete it. Then VPC ID. So sorry, and put, although it's in here, does not mean I have to put it in. I'm just, for the sake of clarity, I am going to give it in here. So order of these parameters in this block does not have to be in the same order which is defined in here. The order should not have to be like this. You can put it in first, this can be second, this can be third. This order inside this block can be changed, interchanged, doesn't matter. So for me, it's easy for me to understand when it comes to the VPC section in the top, so I'm going to put it in the top. And I'm going to just delete this one, and I need to provide the VPC ID. The thing is, I still do not know the VPC ID, right? So I'm going to I'm creating my VPC in the same stack. I do not know it's my VPC ID, so I'm going to provide the VPC ID here. So that's why I told you, when you're creating resources, you can reference resources, right? In the case of reference, what you are using is you are using the logical ID. So since I am creating my VPC in here, what I need to do is I just need to reference my VPC. So I'm going to put %ref space, then my logical name of the VPC. So this so not the percentage, exclamation mark ref is a function, a reference function. So CloudFormation gives us a lot of functions that you guys will be able to find. Actually, let me see whether I can, yeah. So these are the instantic functions, and this is the ref function. So reference function is used with the logical name to reference other resources declared in your template. Okay, so I'll be talking about templates more in my blog article, a little bit more than what I'm using in here. And there are a lot of there are a lot of functions, as you can see, and these functions can be used based on your use case. So there's not like this is the definite use case of this particular function. The function's use case will be depend on your use case. So I'll be providing some of the examples in the article. So if you want to learn more about these things, please go check my article out, and I'll be trying to create a video also, but we'll be talking about in another video, not in this one. So then we'll go and give a tag, so I can use the same section in here, because you go back here and check, tag is again your tag section, brings you to the same section. So I'm going to go back. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me see. Okay. Sorry, I had to go back, and my browser, I think, gave me a little bit of trouble going back. So I can now copy the same section. So I'm just going to use one tag, but when you're actually creating, try to use tags, because tags are something very useful when it comes to cost, say, optimization, access control, and stuff. There are a lot of things that you can use using the tags. Tags is an actual really powerful option. So if you are creating resources, when you're actually creating, use tags and use appropriate tags. This is my tutor. I'm going to use the owner tag only to identify that who created the tags, and so that's it. So now just created my subnet and just created my VPC. Now I'm going to create a route table and my internet gateway. Okay. So okay, next I'm going to create my route table. going to create my route table, and I'm going to do subnet route table association. Okay, let's create my route table. Again, I'm going to use, I need to reference this one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first cut this off and put it in here. Easy for me. It's up to your discretion. So it's easy for me to reference like this, so I'm going to close it like this, copy it, paste. Okay, just create a route table, and now I'm going to associate my route table with my subnet. So subnet associate. You can give any name in here, okay? Do not have to give the same names like me. Can give it like subnet and sock. No simple name, no simple name. Okay, it's up to you. Logical name is up to you. You can provide it according to your requirement. Going to associate my subnet with my route. Just create a route table. Route table ID. What I'm going to do? I'm going to do is ref my route table. Then subnet ID, again I do not have the subnet ID because I'm creating the subnet in here. So my subnet, and I'm going to create my internet gateway. So let's go and have EC2 internet gateway, copy my IGW, so then I'm going to associate my IGW with VPC. Internet gateway, associate internet gateway with route table. Let's see, gateway association. Where's the gateway association? VPC endpoint service, VPC gateway attachment. Okay, from here I need to use VPC gateway attachment, and I'm going to copy here, and I need to provide the get ID and VPC ID. I don't have a VPN gateway ID, so I do not have to provide this one. I just need to provide these two values. Okay. SGW attach and take a, I'm going to I don't have VPN gateway. I'm going to delete this one, and then reference internet gateway ID from here, and then I'm going to reference my VPC here. And I just attach my internet gateway to my VPC. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a route to my route table saying all the outgoing traffic should go to my internet gateway. So let's add a route to my route table. So adding a route. So am I going to copy this block? Go here. IDW route. It's my logical name for this section. To put it here. So I don't have a carrier gateway ID. I don't have. Okay, my destination side block is internet. So I'm going to write it. 0/0 means anything. 1 2 3 4 4 0/0, then destination IP6 range, no internet destination IP6 range, no Ingress only internet gateway ID, no gateway ID, no internet ID log ID, no net, no not interface. You just need to delete these two things. No internet ID, then no instance ID, nothing. Just delete these things. Again, transit gateway ID I'm not using. No VPS and periodic connection, no VPC endpoint, so I just delete these things. Okay, I will have to use gateway ID because if I check the definition in here, this gateway ID, the ID of an internet gateway or virtual private gateway attached to a VPC. So I'm using the internet gateway, so I need to provide use the gateway ID section. So I need to give the internet gateway ID in here. So what I'm going to just refer. Easy, right? I just have to refer my here and template. Using the template, AWS will give all the references and make all the matches. I just have to refer. But one thing I have to say to you guys, still writing the template. Okay, now what AWS tries is he tries to deploy all these resources at once, but for this attachment you need my internet gateway to be deployed first, right? Code. So there's a dependency, so we have to mention those dependencies. I still did not mention those dependencies yet. Just I have to I'm still defining the resources and doing the references. Okay, so then my route table. Okay, just created thing. So now I'm having the interface and those stuff created. Okay, so now I'm going to do what I told earlier, the depends on part. So in order to have this subnet created, I need to have my VPC created first, right? So what I'm going to do is use the depends on function. Okay, so how to use that, I will show you guys how to use that one. So Google AWS CloudFormation depends on attribute. So depends on attributes is how we are going to give what depends on what. So if you guys can see here, EC2 instance is depending on my DB. So before creating the EC2 instance, my DB resource will be created. If you guys can see. So it EC2 section is depends on MyDB. Before creating the EC2 section, this will create the MyDB section. So twice I just need to use the depends on function. So my subnet, before creating the my subnet, it will be reference depends on MyDB. That means in my case my VPC. And you can make the dependency on multiple resources. I will show you in the lower section how to depends on multiple sections. So before I'm creating the route table, I am making it depending on my VPC, and subnet association will be dependent on route table. Actually it will be depend on two things. So how we are going to give two things. This will be given as like this. So the subnet association will be dependent on the route table and my subnet. So it's not mandatory to give these things each and every section. Sometimes small things like this, it will be internally handled, because these resources will be created very rapidly, and some of these dependencies we do not have to provide is because it will be internally handled, but some you have to give. If it takes some time to provision resource to be provisioned, definitely then you have to give those resources dependencies. Okay, so before attaching the route, I'm going to depend this thing on IGW creation. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a security group. So I'm creating a secret group here. Okay, and the same things. I'm not going to create any rules in here because I'm just showing you guys how to do this stuff, so you guys can do it in individual part sections as you want, right? So I'm going to give the VPC ID section. I'm going to again take it outside. It's something I prefer to do, so it's easy for me to understand in that way. Description test EC2-SG, then this will be referenced by my VPC, and text will be the same. And Ingress, so let's provide a small Ingress just for the sake of how to give that one. So going to copy this section, delete this one, and paste the Ingress section. Okay, side IPv6, I do not have a side IPv6, so I'm going to delete this one. So I'm creating a security group role here. So side I'm going to provide it as all sudo, then description, access from anywhere, from port 22 I'm going to provide SSH access or IP protocol TCP, then source prefix ID, nothing, source secret group ID, no, source secret group name, no, secret group one ID, nothing. So if you have providing access from a secret group, we have to mention either one of those things. So I'm going to provide access from internet, so that's why I provided the side IP. Then from port to port, if you're going to provide a port range, you can use the from port and to port. Since I'm going to provide one particular port, I'm going to provide U22 in here also. So I just created the security group, and now I'm going to create an EC2 instance. See, maybe once I'm deploying this one, I will get an error. If we get error, in a way it's good, because then we can see how it will be troubleshooted, right? So I will create a quick one. So let's see, I can get example one from here. Yeah, I'm going to get this one and create a quick one, because there are a lot of because there are a lot of sections in under EC2 code block, but I do not need each and every section. And since we are pressing for the time, it's close to 1 hour, so since we are pressing for the time, I'm not going to go one by one again, as I told you. So each and every property, what's that property should have, whether it's required or not, it's mentioned in here. Just you have to just go through in here and see what's required for you. Okay, so I'm going to provide it in here. See, I'm going to put it out. Yeah, then AMI ID, I need to provide the AMI ID. I will give it a key name, so I do not have a key yet. And then going to use GP3 EBS type, and it will be 8 GB. Return termination to IAPS. I do not have to provide IAPS in here. Volume types will be 8 GB. And no device, I'm going to delete this one. And then I need to go to the security group. Let's see. Security group. Let's see. Security group IDs here. Can copy this one. Go here and provide it here. Actually, I do not have to provide this entire section. I can delete this entire section, because it will be taken from this is the EBS configuration. It will be taken from the IAM itself, so I can remove this one. I just have to provide this one. So actually the group ID is, then I'm going to give this group ID f my sg, and then what I need to give is I can provide the tags in here. Okay, so just created a key. Since I do not have key and I'm not going to SSH it to this one, I'm going to, let's say whether I can, let's say I can SSH. Yeah, I'm doing the SSH capability. Okay, let's see. Then let's SSH into that one, and let's see whether I can. Okay, I'm not going to SSH because if I have to then create the key and I need to generate the key. You can, and creating the key using the CloudFormation, it is not advisable, because the thing is, if you create the key, you have to provide the private key in here, so public key in here, and public key in the template itself. And if you are going to change it, you have to put it in here. So providing it in the template is actually, I do not advise, but if you want, you can do that one, but I'm not good to do it here. Just going to remove the key, and I'm not going to sign it. But if you are going to sign it, what you have to do is you have to provide the key in here, and you can create the key in here, or otherwise what you guys can do is you guys can go to the EC0 section, create the key by hand, and provide the key name in here. See whether I have a key in here. No, I don't have a key in here. Okay, let's see. So if I'm not going to create in here key in here, let's see if I change my, yeah, I don't have key in other regions also. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Not going to create the key, just going to comment that one, and this will be the only things. Another thing I need is the AMI ID. So I'm not going to give the AMI ID from here. Copy this particular AMI ID and put it in here. Okay, now I just create the template. Okay. Let's deploy it. This is a really simple and very basic one. So I'm going to copy this template into an S3 bucket, which I already have. Okay, I uploaded my template to my S3 bucket. So this is my S3 bucket. I uploaded my template, and this is my template. So I'm going to click on this one, copy this object URI from here, and to go to the CloudFormation and click on stacks and create stack. So I'm going to click with new resources standard. This is the default method. I'm going to click on title ID, and I'm going to provide the click on S3 URL method and provide the S3 URL here. Otherwise, you guys can click on this one and click on choose file and select the file if it's in your personal PC. Either method. You guys can do this way or this way, it doesn't matter. But if you are going to go for major deployments and manage the infrastructure for long using the CloudFormation, try using this S3 method, because it's simpler, because you then in that way you guys can manage your template in S3 bucket in the account itself. or in another account according to your choice. But for testing purpose, you guys can click on this upload template method and upload it from your PC. Give it right here. If I click on view designer, I can see what are the resources I'm building up, and from here also there's an option to validate the template, and it will check my template and see whether there are any errors. So my template has an error. Let's see what's error. So subnet ASOC is not an alphanumeric. Okay, why is that? Let's see. Subnet ASOC logical name is wrong, it says. See, why is that? Okay, there are double colons in there. Okay, I have made a mistake. Leave this one. See, I have made a mistake, and using that method I just caught my mistake. Otherwise, if I continue on deploying, it will, when I press on deploy, it will fail and give me the error and fail the deployment. So I just was able to identify before I start deployment by using that. So it's advisable for you guys also to check it before deploying. So that way is the easiest method you can use to check the deployment. See, save it. I'm going to upload my template again. Refresh. The template is there. Copy the URL. Go to Cloudformation. Stacks. Refresh it. Create stack. Get the URL. Then again, view in designer. So see, it already identified as YAML and already showed what are the resources I'm deploying and how the connections are made. And then I'm going to validate it again. Now the template is valid. Okay, now I'm going to do is I'm going to go next. It's checking whether I have any parameters defined. I do not have parameters because I do not have the parameter section. I'm not getting any parameters from here. So if you have configured the parameter section, and if you are getting any parameters at the runtime, so deploy this when deploying the stack, you have to provide those parameters at this window. So I'm not getting anything. I'm not having any parameters. So I'm going to provide it as state stack 1. Next. Can provide the name. So any tag you provide in the stack level will be automatically assigned to each and every resource that you are creating the template. So as you can see, I have given the own tag in the template also, so it will replace it. And anything, so let's say if I give it like project, give it something like project CloudFormation, and I'm not going to give any specific IAM resources. I'm going to say that rollback all resources in case if the stack got failed by some reason, maybe due to misconfigured resources. Due to some reason, if my template deployment, any one of the resources in the template got deployed, the stack will fail and all the resources will be deleted. That's the option I'm going to use. Otherwise, you guys can use the second option, which is keep the successful deployed resources but delete the unsuccessful ones. So depending on your use case, you guys can click on either option, but I'm going to use this particular option and click on. So stack, I'm not going to define any stack policies, no specific rollback policies I'm going to define, or notification ARNs. Stack timeout also I'm not going to give a specific one, it will be using the default one. And I'm not going to create termination protections. Termination protection is deleting the stack by others, so I'm not disabling that one also. Stack. So from here you guys will be able to estimate the cost for your deployment. So what my experience is, most of the time this is actually correct what you guys can get from here. So you guys have to, my estimate bill is according to what I'm going to use is for $2. Okay, since I have not given my instance type, that's why I'm getting that so much cost, because it's be using default one. So I have done something wrong actually. That's one thing I should have done. So I need to provide my instance type in here. I haven't given that one, my mistake. So if instance type, okay, instance type, going to data micro, going to copy the instance type here, and I'm going to give the instance type colon t2 micro. Okay, let's get the new template. So see, so I rushed it, so I forgot to mention that one. So if I haven't mentioned that one, most of the time it will be using a default one and it will be using a large instance, so it will cost you. So again, as I told you, parameters are going to be based on what you require. So depending on the use case, you have to give the correct parameters. So if I created this EC2 instance in more like a testing environment, other thing, I will be giving more than this type of parameters. Since I'm just showing you guys how to create the template, I'm using the least amount of parameters I can use. So again, I'm going to go back, refresh the page, delete this one, leave and refresh it, copy this one, and I'm going to create the stack. Next, let's stack one. Next, project CF. Next, and since there are no any parameters, no only one tag, no permission, specific permission, no options, specific things I configured, and create stack. Now the stack will be created, and you guys will be able to see the progress of the stack. So started creating my VPC, started creating my IGW. Okay. Will take some time. Okay, VPC creation completed. SG creation completed. Okay, my EC2 got creation deploy failed. Why is that? Let's check. Since I have not configured what's my VPC or what's my subnet, it tries to put my EC2 in the default subnet, the default VPC. Since I do not have any default VPCs configured in my account, it got failed. So that's why it failed. So what happens? What's happening in here? So as you can see, since it got failed, what happened is initiated the rollback, because if you can remember, I chose when if there's a failure, delete everything. So it start deleting everything, all the resources, IGW, VPC, SG, every created resources is started deleting. So see, delete in progress, delete complete, and delete complete. And my stack rollback is completed. Now I need to delete my stack. Since my stack has some issues, I deleted my stack. Now I have to recorrect my mistake. So what I have to do is I have to provide my VPC information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my subnet ID, and I'm going to other things what I need to give. Do not need these things. Okay, I provide the image ID. Yes, I need this one. I provided it. I provided this one. Do not need these things. Do not need the kernel ID. Since I'm not going to SSH ID, not this one. Non-HTML, nothing. Does not need. Do not need. Okay, no need of these things. I provide the security group. So I just only need to give the subnet ID. So from here, copy the subnet ID section and go back to my template. From here, press enter, write subnet ID, then reference it, and subnet, save it. Going to delete this one. Loss. Then I'm going to upload my template again to S3. Okay, refresh it, get the URI. So I'm going to, now I don't have a stack created in here, create stack and paste it. Now I'm going to view in designer again just to make sure I'm getting it correct. Okay, as you guys can see, sorry, so my CC2 is deploying inside my subnet, so I'm getting everything correct. So let's validate the template. Template is valid. Just going to close it, leave. Next is stack 1. Click next, then I'm going to click next, then I'm going to create stack. See whether you will get the, should not fail right now. Let's see. If it got failed in the first time you are creating, do not disappoint, because it will take some time for you to get adjusted and get your mindset correctly according to this one. So always do the trial and error method. Don't be afraid to do the trial and error method. If error is there, try it again. Okay, now if you can see, my resources are successfully getting created. Still it's getting created some resources. From here I can see what are the resources which I have defined, and what are resources still creating, and what are resources get completed. So these resources are already created, done. Still my EC2 instance is getting created. So from here I can refresh it. Still my stack is in progress. But if I go to my VPC, can see yeah, there my VPC is there. Okay, I'm going to subnet. My subnet is there. I go to route table. Okay, my route table is there. This is the route table which I deployed. Yeah, So this is the default route table created for each and every VPC, and this is the my route table which I created specifically. This is the default route table which is created, and if I go here and if I go to subnet associates, I can see my subnet associated, this particular subnet. If I go to my internet gateway, this internet gateway is there and it's associated to VPC. And if I go to my instances, my instance is creating, it's initializing actually. And now I refresh, my stack is created. See how easy it is. Now the thing is, now my infrastructure is deployed, right? Defined, and my infrastructure is deployed and it's creating, my EC2 is creating. And once it gets successfully initialized, I can log in. I won't be able to log in this case because I haven't configured any key pair, so I cannot SSH. But if I go here and see the security, I can see my security group. If I click on security group, I can see 22 role to outside. If I go to my route table and click on the route table and go to routes, I can see internet gateway route table for outside. Okay, so everything which I wanted is there. Okay, so this is how we are going to deploy infrastructure using CloudFormation. I hope you guys learned something, how to create your template, and try to do it by yourself. And let's delete our resources. Okay, so the easiest method, so normally if we have created it from hand, what you are going to do is what you are going to delete it by one, right? But now in this case you do not have to do that one. So what you have to do is you just go to your stack, click on delete stack, click delete. This will delete the stack itself and each and every resource which is created by the stack. That's why when you are creating the stack, you got an option saying disable termination protection, right? If you have not enabled that one, you can just click on delete and it will be start deleting. But if you have enabled this disable termination protection, when I click on delete, it will say you cannot delete this stack. Then I have to specifically go and disable the termination protection, delete protection, specifically disable that one, and then start deleting. So it's a protection for your CloudFormation stack to prevent any accidental deletion operations. So now my stack is getting deleted, and if you can see, once I initiate the stack deletion, user initiated stack deletion, started my all the resource deletions has been started, deleting my association, deleting my attachment, deleting my EC2 instance, deleting my route table. So if I go to my route table in here, refresh it, I cannot see my route table anymore. If I go to my internet gateway, I can see my internet gateway is now detached. It's not still deleted, still it's detached. I go to my subnets, subnet is deleted, and my VPC is actually deleted. So my VPC deleted means my internet gateway should also be deleted now. See, where's my internet gateway? Yeah, it's no longer there. If I go to my CloudFormation stack now, test one stack deletion completed. So now stack is no longer there and none of the resources are there anymore. No table, no internet gateway, nothing. I go to my EC2 instance, it will be terminated. See how easy it is to delete the resources when you deploy it by using CloudFormation. So I hope you guys have learned something today, and we will start using the CloudFormation. Try it by yourself. You use those reference document which I showed you guys, and happy CloudFormation. So have a nice day, and if you guys learned something, share the video with other people and like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.